I have a company that I bootstrapped. I started it a number of years ago, and it's what I would call at the time a what's next company, meaning I was in the marketing technology industry working for software startups, and I did okay. But I love the industry because we were selling AI solutions early days. So, like in the 2000s, when the marketing AI was starting to work really well, as the software people got involved in it. And it was still signal versus noise kind of strategy stuff, using data to inform marketing and media decisions, and then doing that in real time and different um, software oriented solutions that structured data. So I won't get too deep into that, but the point is that I was looking at what's next, and what was next at the time was virtual companies and Zoom and video, and the ability to create a revenue department for companies, B2B companies, and agencies. Was where I started, marketing agencies, but we moved into like technology companies, software companies, and over the years, we've worked with hundreds of B2B companies. And then all of a sudden, that wasn't what's next anymore. Our ability to send out an email, our ability to make calls, our ability to manage a pipeline, our ability to support that pipeline through to close, our ability to create a really complex infrastructure to manage this in an agency model with a lot of clients was new, particularly the virtual approach of finding really high quality, expensive talent that had shifted their life into a lifestyle that allowed them to work, but on their own terms. And I rode that wave for a number of years, and then it stopped working for me because things changed. The pandemic wasn't really even the point, it just accelerated it. So I'm looking at what's next from there. And what was next in the pandemic was becoming visible on social media and creating some sort of a content and experience infrastructure. So the idea in the summer of 2020 for me was community as a sales pipeline. This is what's going on today with school from Sam Ovens and Alex Hormozy. So community as a sales pipeline, adding value through content, adding value through experiences, partnering with guests, um, coming together behind the scenes, often with partners. And I started doing all that for a few years. And then I saw that start to fall apart in 2023. And I thought, well, this isn't working. And it's because everyone does it now. So the minute you get into something new, now look how many communities have formed. Look how many sales funnel or community as a pipeline sales funnels have formed. Look how many let's network together and get clients groups have formed. Look how many school communities are forming, how fast it's happening. And whenever that happens, what's created doesn't work anymore because everyone's doing it. So I started thinking in 2023, after we stood up our school community and what I called the Solopreneur Inc. virtual campus. And I thought, okay, this is for coaches, solopreneurs. They're trying to figure out how to get clients. I've got a pathway for this. They're interested. I've got a pipeline of thousands of people because I connected and added value through experiences, delivering them at no cost in networking environments, but in content environments as well. And I thought, well, this is done. Like, this is old now. And it didn't feel right. And I thought, what do I do? And I thought, well, what's next? And what I finally realized what's next was a permanent solution to change. Because these things, the minute they take off, go everywhere. And it's going to happen again. Somebody's going to figure out what's next after the social media thing starts to implode and the getting popular strategies on social media start to implode, and the communities to get business, the communities to help you succeed in business implode. And I see it happening right now. It just hasn't imploded yet. So people are going to hang on to it for a long time. So what's next? In 2023, I did a beta test of something new that I started to think of as red pill pathway. And it was a mess. And I got some people to sign up for it. I got some people to pay. And we worked together, um, mostly starting in the late spring and summer. And it was basically a Zoom room and me, once a week, and then a lot of recordings. And that was all set up in school at the time still. So I was using what I see now as kind of an old method mixed with new things that were coming, but I couldn't figure it out. And that's what happens. So beta is an important phase of anything new coming into the world. And I took this idea from the software industry because I worked in the software industry for a number of years. And I thought they beta everything because it doesn't work at first. And neither did mine, but it did because it worked for me. Then it worked for one other person who got a really good result, and a third person who left, and leaving was the result. Her realization of I want to do something different was a result from the beta. And I called the group the Summit Club. And okay, I won't get into all the details because this led somewhere. This led somewhere. So I thought, I'm going in the right direction. I know it. I know it because I'm doing something new and it's messy. And what was different about it to me was I realized it was based on foundational principles only. So I stopped paying attention to the market completely. I stopped paying attention to what would work. I was no longer concerned with what would work. I was concerned with a quality product that would never fall apart because someone else did something similar that would compete with me in a model, or it would get blown up in the marketplace through some program where everyone knew, which is what's happened now with school, for example, and the influencer stuff on LinkedIn, where everyone's doing it. So I'm like, well, it's not going to work. It'll collapse eventually over time. And I'm like, well, nobody's going to believe that. So I'm talking about this and I'm saying things. Everything we were taught is wrong and it's not working. And what we're doing, in other words, isn't working as a society of entrepreneurs and coaches and service providers. And I'm like, nobody's believing what I'm saying. And it's because that's not how it works. It's not about other people believing. It's about me figuring out the product. And that's what happened. And then I launched the pilot. That's the second phase when you do software, typically, of a pilot where it's active. It's these are now people who are like, okay, it's got to work, or I'm not interested. It took a couple of years. It took about a year to complete, and now it's done. Pilot's done. And I think I started thinking about it differently because the people in the pilot were the right people. And what was strange is all the people I thought were going to sign up didn't sign up. And nobody that was in my 3-year long or 2.5-year long community as a sales funnel signed up. None of them. And actually, a lot of them wouldn't even meet with me. And I think they thought I was crazy or just failing, or the opposite was true. Opposite. I wasn't failing. I was building in the laboratory of the market in a very, very powerful way, something new, is a pioneer in it. And the key to it was the principles and realizing the principle is not getting the result. The principle is having the experience fully and knowing it's right. And I thought, if I look at the result, are people interested? Is the market responding? I would fail at that moment, at the pilot moment. Now, that comes later. It does matter. You calibrate with the market, but you got to get the product right first. These are principles. That means I know it'll never go away because I can flex in the market, which I'll explain in a minute. So the pilot was a success because it was the right people. So I thought I was going to make 100 grand in a day on September 20th of 2023. Yeah, 20, I get the dates wrong. Yeah, about a year ago. I thought I was gonna make 100 grand, 150 grand. And I wrote an article on LinkedIn saying I'm glad the 150 grand wasn't in the bank account, or the 100 grand, I forget. And I got some people saying, I'm sorry it didn't work out. And I'm like, wait, what? It did work out. You don't understand. I thought, well, I can't explain this, so I give up. And what we did behind the scenes in the pilot was figure out ourselves. And this is the key to it. So what's happening on campus now is it's not about the red pill pathway anymore. It's about the entrepreneur experience. And the entrepreneur experience campus may include people, and will, who are going on the red pill pathway journey with me as part of what I do, or not. It's not for everybody. The entrepreneur experience campus it's for any entrepreneur that wants a better experience, or a coach or a service provider that does. It's for anybody. And that was the key to it. And I thought, okay, platforms are, what's a platform? So force.com is a platform. Amazon's marketplace is a platform. Apple's store is a platform. The problem with those platforms is they're owned by an extraction machine. So the corporation's taken too much money out of it, and they're controlling the people on it. And I thought, well, if you build a business on YouTube, Google owns your business. You don't own it. You work for Google. That's true. Same with LinkedIn. If you build a business on LinkedIn, Microsoft owns your business because they can shut you off. It's not your business. I saw this years ago when we had a lot of companies that were coming to us in my B2B agency, and they were hiring us to sell their software business, their software product, which was basically force.com underneath it. They built it on force.com. They had intellectual property because they were experts in some market. We had one that was an expert in consumer packaged goods operations in huge corporations. We got him into PepsiCo Global. So we closed a deal with PepsiCo with him. And I'm looking at his company and I'm like, this isn't going to make it. And there was another one in the higher education industry for enrollment management, and built it on force.com. And they were so frustrated because Salesforce owned their company, and they knew it. They knew it because Salesforce, you had to make Salesforce happy and the clients, and the margins were not great. So what's different is what's next is controlling your operating environment. So your platform is yours. That's what's next. Now, not everyone's going to do that. So the idea for me is to build the platform, create the platform, so anyone on the platform owns their own experience on my platform that we created together. So I'm not an extraction machine trying to get 30% out of somebody's intellectual property. I'm a structure that allows someone to scale their own business on their own, in their own way, without doing it by themselves, without subordinating their vision to my thinking process as the influencer leader. So it's servant-based leadership. In other words, leaders eat last, but make a lot of money too. We're all going to make a lot of money. So that's what's happening on the campus. And the experiments, the experiences, and the innovations will never stop coming, because that makes it a permanent success. So the platform concept means the market coming together around shared desire. The shared desire already exists. That's the key to it. Shared desire means a group of people who share the same desire. So if you look at the community of high performers, entrepreneurs, they're doing a lot of biohacking. They do a lot of ayahuasca stuff. They do a lot of plant-based medicine. They do a lot of David Goggins push-ups or whatever. Brendan Burchard's high performance principles. And that's a shared desire. That's a slice of my bigger entrepreneur, coach, service provider marketplace. So we can align with them because there's people in my group who do that at world-class levels. One in particular, Brian Muka, but others, Dr. Jake, and who do this at world-class level. I don't want to do any of that stuff. I don't care. They're best in class at figuring out how to hack your body so you release fear and become invulnerable and exist in a state of flow as a group. This is what Google's trying to do. This is what the Navy SEALs do. Jocko Willink talks about this stuff. They're best in class at these things and how to do it. I'm not, but they're on my platform as part of the product. They own that niche by being partners in a product together. I don't even have to be part of it. I'm hosting it. I make money, they make money. And the people who come in can come in on all kinds of terms. So we've even created a way where people can pay for their membership by bringing more people in. So that's called an affiliate program. But I don't think about it like that, because I think about it as invite guests. They can come for 5 days and hang out. That's all you have to do. You don't have to understand it or sell it even. Just invite people. That's all you have to do. And it doesn't have to have anything to do with what you do. You don't even have to be an expert in it. That's different. And it's using all of these sort of vehicles that have been working the last few years in the entrepreneur economy on social media and in all these different business models and networking models, but in a different way, where it's a win-win-win-win-win. And that win-win-win-win-win platform exists now on the Entrepreneur Experience Campus, brought to you by Red Pill Pathway. And what we're doing is we're building a core first. This is the hard part. So building what's called the metaverse. So Facebook renamed themselves Meta. Well, I look at that and I'm like, Mark Zuckerberg's not stupid. So why is he doing this? Because he knows that there's a better way for people to collaborate, be together, and come together around the world. And that's the metaverse. However, the form the metaverse takes right now is spammy as hell, because you have an avatar dividing you from each other. And there's spammers all over the place on Facebook. Lead generation companies, people out, hustlers. It's terrible. So like, they're never going to pull it off unless they change their ad network business model. And they're not going to do that. I don't know if they could. And I'm sure he realizes this, and I'm sure he's frustrated. So I found a company called Welo that would be more like a relationship with something like Slack, which I've been using for my other company for a long time. So it's one of these things where it could go corporate, but I don't think they'd shut us down. And if they do, we'd have to move to something else. So I'm thinking ahead, because everyone's going to be on this thing at some point. So I'm looking at, oh, this is next. Metaverse is next. It's just got to be, because it's better. However, the video function in like a Welo and the co-working space feel is uncomfortable for people for about a day. And then they're like, this is great. This is great. That's how you know. Other people come in and say, oh my God, this is unbelievable. I didn't know this existed. Or I was in one of these and I didn't get it, or I didn't like it, or I liked it. Because it's not about the platform. It's about the experience on the platform. So that experience has to be holistic and comprehensive. A lot of entrepreneurs, coaches, and service providers are tired of paying for coaching. Done. Like, I'm not paying for coaching. I'll join a group to meet clients and that's it. And that's not sustainable. It's not a shared desire. It's not deep enough. They want to be with people like me. I want to be with people who have the shared desire. I want a better entrepreneur experience. I want to be around people who are like that. And there's many levels of that. So those little clusters will find their own way together in the holistic environment of the platform. But what do entrepreneur service providers and coaches need? Everything. So that's why we built it as a platform. And that includes 4 components in quadrants. So one is how to get into clarity. It's not just with me. There's 5 different vehicles built now in the platform to get into clarity. How to get confidence, same. How to get to certainty, same. I think I got these right. I just put this together. Um, uh, authority, confidence, authority. Yeah, and then well, I might have it wrong. It doesn't matter. So these four quadrants. So we're fixing the website environment. I couldn't do that myself. That's the whole point. So we've got Lana Fink, who's organizing the website and what we call the events page, which is how you come in. It's called Claim Your Guest Pass, which is show up for 5 days. That's it. You don't have to pay. People are like, well, that's your funnel. I'm like, no, it's not. I don't use funnels. Can't explain these things, so I don't try anymore. I just talk about it. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. But it'll be simple to understand because I worked with Maria Platuzak, who's going to do a brand strategy session every week for the group as part of being in the group. That's available to anybody who joins every week. Best in class brand strategy session. Same with Lana. Communication clarity session every week. Every week available to anybody. I got more done with these two people in 5 minutes than in the last 3 years hiring coaches and coaching programs. 150 grand for all that. And it didn't work. Lots of reasons for that I won't get into. But the point of the platform is key because in a platform environment, everything is there bundled together in an affordable package. And then it's a choose your own adventure approach. So people are like, well, what's your elevator message? You need an elevator message. And my answer is no, I don't. What I need is communication clarity, which I'm working on, which will be done soon. And that comes from brand clarity. And that comes from all the stuff I do, which is knowing your vision. Vision clarity is what I do. And then we've got the confidence stuff. So that's Brian Muka with the Invincibility Dojo, which is about being invincible, releasing fear every day. That's a big problem. So a lot of entrepreneurs, they want to work on their mindset, get productive and do all this stuff, but they don't want to pay for coaching programs for that anymore. I'm finding you don't need to here because you get it every day as part of the bundle. That's the stuff that really works. But people want to do the business stuff because that's what they are where their issue is, or the networking, but it's all separated. It doesn't work. That's why you need the platform because these things get too expensive, or these $29 a month communities it's not enough. It's not enough. And then you end up networking with a lot of other people who are looking for clients too. That doesn't make any sense to me. And I think it's an old model. So what's the new model? This is what I'm talking about. Now, I was on a call with somebody yesterday, very smart, best in class at CRM implementations and optimization for B2B companies. And I know that business cold because I sold that stuff for a long time. And we talked about what he was doing, why it wasn't working, and what could work. But I don't have a solution in a coaching one-to-one thing for that. I have a platform that brings it all together on his terms. That's the key to it. Plus, if he doesn't want to pay, he doesn't have to, because we can do a partnership together and create a product together on the platform that will make him and me a lot of money. And he could pay for it through inviting people, because he'll get 20% of the annual fee for anybody investment. I know I'm supposed to say investment, not fee, in the entrepreneur experience group, being in it. And so everybody wins. So if he doesn't have any money, he can do that. And I'll teach him how. We got 5 days free. We get a daily More Money Now meeting. That's the strategy, how to make more money now. So how to sell the partnership we just did that you don't have to pay for. All you have to do is show up once a week for 8 weeks and co-teach it with me. And we'll market it in our system. We don't even market it. We just share it with each other. And you can have 15 different people with guests coming in, and we're all sharing this stuff out everywhere across the ecosystems of public communications or through networks. It doesn't make any difference. All of it's included. That's the point. When you start siloing things like, okay, now I'm going to learn LinkedIn, or now I'm going to learn mindset, or now I'm going to learn productivity, or now I'm going to do networking in this group. You're limiting yourself. That's an old way. Old way. And the coming together is the new way. So if you have one of those things, the networking group, the LinkedIn expertise, it's open source. Open it up so it plugs into other things, like what I'm doing. I'm open source, but it's not owned by a corporation that's going to extract money for basically creating the platform, like a utility. You can't. They own you. I don't own anybody. Don't want to. So if you decide you don't want to do it with me anymore, you've already built your audience. Do it yourself, and I'll show you how. So you want to build your own Welo, Go High Level integration, Notion integration, Discord communications group, which is free and better than anything I've seen. And it's not a funnel group like school. It's a real community platform, Discord. You don't have to gamify anything. You just do it. Shared desire, people come in, they hang out. And you can do a lot of stuff in those channels, and they have an audio component. I mean, it's really amazing. They have a calendar system that's solid, and we can integrate it with the virtual campus on Welo. So you decide, Larry, I don't want to be on your thing anymore. I just want to do my own now. I'm like, great. I'll show you how. You're already here. You don't even have to pay to learn that from me. We'll have people who'll show you how to do it and give you all the documentation, the protocols, or whatever. It's open. So this is where I think the future is going. I think it's the technology disappears in the background. The division is no longer relevant. There are no hierarchies or markets separated from each other, from themselves. There's no social media mountains with the winners on the top extracting money from the bottom. It's an everybody wins platform, but you got to opt in. Or you can keep fighting the market, fighting yourself and competing. That's an option too. And I would say 96% of the market will do that for a long time. 4% of the market's forward thinking, come to me and what we're doing. And the top 1% in that 4% are going to lead. And I got something for you, which is we worked together for 12 months. And I have something else called the Change Agent Board for Leaders, based on Warren Buffett's Giving Pledge model. And those are disruptive change agents funded by someone who is massive success in a particular domain of life and looks at what's going on and says, this sucks. They ruined it. Best example I saw was Tim Berners-Lee recently, who did the WWW protocols, and he wrote an article on Medium. And I summarized that article by saying, you screwed up my internet. You turned it into a damn ad network. And yeah, he's right. And he's not happy about it. He could fund a change agent board group. So could a guy like Jeff Hoffman from Priceline. I met Jeff Hoffman. I had lunch with him years ago, and I saw him speak in a private group that I used to be part of that I dropped out of because I don't do that stuff anymore. And he spoke, and it was incredible. He's incredible. It's a give back. He's in a give back impact phase of his life. So I'm like, he could fund a change agent board group and disrupt and innovate in online travel again, or whatever he's doing, entrepreneurship, which is what he's doing. So that's the top 1%. The key is making it accessible to the 96% on the curve. It goes up like this, like a hockey stick. And that's my vision, is everybody gets access to the good stuff, the inner circle stuff. And I don't mean buying up. I mean, from day one, the smartest minds are in the room with you. And it's not the smartest minds. That's not the right way to say it. It's people with the most experience that already there. They're already there. Every single person on my platform to be a founding member, including me, has to be a true expert in what they do, not a trying to do it. You can't buy into that because they're not paying. We're finding each other, and then I make a decision like, I want you in. Do you want to be in? And some people are saying not now, some people are saying yes. Those are the founding um, members. Now, the partnerships to build products together, I'll consider that with anybody, but you got to know what you're doing. You got to have a real serious product, and then we can integrate it either with me or another founding member. So we have two founding members that are doing something called cut the corporate cord because they know how to do that. I've never worked. I longest I lasted in a corporation was 6 months, so I don't know how to cut the corporate cord. I've never had to. They do. So Lana Fink and Gail Kraft they know corporate and they know how to get out. So cut the corporate cord. I'm not going to that. They're going to do it. And that'll be an 8-week joint product. But you got to get the 12 months as part of it because in 8 weeks, that's not enough. You still got to do the work and you feel better, you figure it out, and then you go back to your old ways. So that's the idea of being in the invincibility dojo every day, being able to get clarity in the clarity session, being able to get your brand together there, being able to come into what I call the market authority room with me, the action library with me to lower your parking brakes and restrictions on getting clarity and all those kinds of things. So we're ready for you. It's a little messy still, but not really. It's good enough right now. I know it works. It's been proven. It's done. And if you're interested, you can check out the content or go to the events page and claim your guest pass, pick some days or pick a day and come to something and get something out of it and then make a decision about what you want to do, or scroll to the bottom of those sites. And I have a link called Schedule a Time with Larry. You meet on campus with me and on the Wheelo